Hey, what's up everybody, this is Sam and welcome back to Introducing StackView. In this part of the series, you'll learn how to use StackView from code. So far in this series you've mainly used StackView from Interface Builder. Now it's time to look at the code that underlies the power of UIStackView. This is what the demo app will look like when you've completed this part of the series. You're back in the About View controller and you're finally going to provide some content for that ShowHide Copyright Details button. It's all going to be written in code and it's all going to be using stack views. As you already know, UIStackView is just a UIView subclass. Remember, it's a special version of UIView in that it's non-rendering. You can't set the background colour and that kind of thing. It just handles the layout of its subviews. The 6 properties that you've seen time and time again when we've been going through the stack view, they just exist on UIStackView. They're all fairly self-explanatory, although it is worth noting that distribution and alignment have custom enumerations to cover the aforementioned cases. The important part of UIStackView from the point of code is how do we manage those subviews? In addition to the subviews property that UIView has, UIStackView also has an arranged subviews property. This again is an array, and the ordering of that array specifies the order of the views in the stack view. Notice that it's read-only. In order to add subviews to this, you can use ArrangeSubView. That'll add it to the end of the stack view. You can also insert an ArrangeSubView at a particular index, and to remove them, you need to use removeArrangeSubView. Notice that the initializer takes an array of subviews, and in fact that is the ArrangeSubView array. You can give this array initialization time, and that will determine the views that will appear in the stack view. Having just heard about this second array of subviews, the ArrangeSubViews property that UIStackView has, in addition to the subviews property it inherits from UIView, you might be a little confused as to what the difference between these two things is. And in fact, you've got several ways of adding and removing subviews as well. How do these work with each other? It's really important that you get this quite subtle difference. The arranged subviews are the only views that will appear within a stack view. You can have a view that is a subview of the stack view, but that isn't in the arranged subviews and it won't be rendered. When you call addArrangeSubView, not only will it add it to its arranged subviews array, it will also add it to the view hierarchy. If you just call addSubView, the UIView method, it'll add it to the view hierarchy, but it won't add it to the arranged subviews, which means that the stack view will not update its layout to accommodate this new view. The story is similar with removing subviews. You've got 2 ways you can remove a subview. You can either call remove from superview on the subview itself, or you can call remove arrange subview. Once again, they have different behaviour. If you call remove arrange subview, it will remove the subview from the arranged subviews, but it won't remove it from the view hierarchy. This can actually be really useful if you're going to be using that view again later on. It's still there in the view hierarchy, but you can't see it. When this view is needed again, it doesn't have to be recreated, improving efficiency. However, the remove from superview method on the subview itself will remove it both from the view hierarchy and also from arranged subviews array, which means that then, as you might expect, it completely disappears both from the screen and from memory.
Remember when you created the About View controller, you had this ShowHide Copyright Notice button, which doesn't actually do anything. Well, what you're going to build in this video is it looking like this. We've got the little Raiseware logo and the copyright notice. You're going to build it entirely in code so that you can understand exactly how stack views work. Cool. Back to Xcode. Open up the About View controller code file. You've already got the handle ShowHide tapped method that's linked into that button. That's great. So what you're going to do first is create a utility method that will generate that extra content, that logo next to the copyright notice. It's a utility function, so I've put private at the beginning. It's called create copyright info, and it's just going to return a stack view. First of all, let's create the components that we need. The logo is an image, and it's in the asset catalog. It's called rw_logo. We're going to need to put that inside an image view. And on the other side, there's a copyright label. Note that we don't need to provide the rect at the moment because it'll auto-size with intrinsic content size. We're just going to set the text. Okay, now we've got the two components. We need to actually stack them together. You create stack views using the ArrangeSubViews initializer. This just takes an array, an ordered array, of the UI views that you want to use as subviews within your stack view. Now we can set some properties on this stack view. The axis, we want it to be horizontal. It goes from left to right. Axis is just an enumeration, so I'm using the shorthand to choose the horizontal. The alternative would be .vertical. There's a spacing property, which represents the space between them. I'm just setting that as 20.0. I want them to be aligned in the center, so that's in the axis perpendicular to the stack view's axis. We're centering them here so that they're all along the center line. And then the distribution property, I'm setting equal spacing. I want each of the elements within the stack view to be equally spaced, to have equal size. And since this is a utility method, I'm just going to return that stack view. So this method takes no arguments, but it returns the stack view that we want to put on the screen. Where do we want it to go? Well, we're already building the entire view out of stack views. If we head over to the storyboard for a second to review how it currently is built, you can see we have two stack views. We have the outer content stack view, and then there's this copyright stack view, which currently just contains the button. We want to add our new content to this copyright stack view. Let's go back and do that. Now, when this stack view is on the screen, we need to keep a reference to it. So let's create a private variable at the top that is going to hold the reference to this copyright content stack view. This is optional because it's not always going to exist. So in our handle ShowHide tapped method, first of all, we're going to check, well, does the stack view already exist? Because if it does, then it means we're going to hide it. Otherwise, we're going to create it. If it doesn't currently exist, we need to create the content using that utility method you just wrote. And now you want to add it to the copyright stack view using the ArrangeSubView method. In the other case, so the copyright content already exists, you want to remove the stack view and then set it to nil. Let's build and run and see what that does. Right, so now when you tap the button, then the stack view is being created and it's being added to the stack view. But it would look much nicer if it was animating in, like we had in the last video. Let's update that so that it works. Back to the About View controller code. Something that you need to be aware of here is that I can't just put this inside a UIView animation block. Adding ArrangeSubViews and removing subviews is not something that it can be animated via UIView animation. Instead, when we're adding it, we're going to add it in the hidden state and then unhide it in an animation block. And equivalently, when we're removing it, you're going to hide it in an animation block, and at the end of the animation block, then we remove it. Let's look at doing that. So at this point here, after we've created the copyright content stack view, let's hide it. And now, once we've added it as an ArrangeSubView to the copyright stack view, we can animate it unhiding. What we've done here is create a standard UIView animation block. This is a shorter one, much shorter than the one we used in the previous video. It won't have quite the same effect, but it demonstrates what we're doing here. And then inside the animation block, we've just set the hidden property to false. Okay, fantastic. We can test that. That animates in really nicely. We haven't dealt with the removal yet. Let's jump back and do that. So here, rather than removing it from the super view, we're going to animate it to be hidden. Note that this time, we need a completion handler in our animation block. So in the animations block, we're just hiding it. And then in the completion block, we want to do what we had before. So let's cut those out and paste them in the completion block. We just need to add self. Okay. Let's build and run that. And now if we show hide it, it appears nicely. And then when you hide it, it animates out again. Fantastic.
That's it for this video tutorial, and as ever, we like to leave you with a challenge. You can see behind me that the app's got a little bit of extra info now on that About View controller. There's a new button labelled Switch Axis. When you tap it, the axis of the stack view rotates. It looks pretty cool. Your challenge is to go and recreate it entirely in code. You'll need to create both a new stack view to hold the button and a new animation to perform the axis switch. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.